So Keith Cunningham, congratulations, your first Emmy nomination for the production design of Mare of Easttown. You have lots of Art Director Guild nominations for your film work. So how did you come to this TV project?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the kudos. I came to this project having worked with Brad Inglesby, the writer, on the show before this one. It was a little film with Ben Affleck called The Way Back. Another show set in a blue collar town. We did this one. We did that one in San Pedro, California, and he was just finishing up the Mayor script when we were finishing that show. That was at the end of 2018, and so once Kate signed on and HBO picked it up, well, we were kind of off to the races. And so yeah, Brad and I had sort of a nice shorthand with this world, I guess. We're going to talk about the blue collar, hardworking people of Philadelphia area. That that plus his really wonderfully detailed scripts just had us going right in the right direction right off the bat.
And kind of your background's kind of similar, right? Like kind of growing up in kind of, but I think in the Midwest, right? Like maybe
exactly. Yes. Yeah. I grew up in Chicago. My family's very blue collar, hardworking group. A lot of police officers and teachers and firemen, and so yeah, I was very familiar with the photographs of Brad's life that he would share with me. Based on his childhood upbringing, the way his parents lived, and he grew up, aunts and cousins, and it was all very, very similar. And so we use that as sort of a springboard to motivate, a lot of the nuances in these various characters' lives.
So when you're the production designer, you're sort of responsible for the overall look, but it's not just you alone. I guess you kind of collaborated with Ben Richardson, the cinematographer, Emmy nominee, Megan Kaepernick, costume designer, Emmy nominee. There's a theme going here when it comes to Mare of Easttown, all you Emmy nominees. Talk about that collaboration with the other creative people behind the camera.
Yeah, you bet. And yeah, the Emmy nominations are so wonderful. I mean, for me, it was completely unexpected. I mean, we all worked really hard to sort of create a unique vibe and mood and look for the show. And yeah, it started early with Ben and Megan and our set decorators, Edward McLaughlin and Sarah McMillan. It was all about just trying to come up with these design parameters based on Brad's scripts about all these characters and how to make each character diverse, but also exist within this world of Easttown that we were creating. We had a lot of room to decide and figure out what our version of Easttown was. And we knew off the bat we wanted a real density to sort of both in the overall world and then within each dwelling, and then to be able to sort of come up with a color palette and coordinate that all. We're looking for a structure for this very unstructured lives, like just to try to come up with something for each character. So that plus with Brad's input and details, and also Kate had a lot of great insight too. Like we had many meetings with her as the producer, and obviously the starring role of Mare, and how to her coming up with the look and vibe of Mare really informed us, started us right off in the right direction on how to balance this world with everyone within her world. She sort of represents. Right. She's the center of this community, so we sort of used her as a real inspiration as a sort of design hub.
Yeah. And Megan, the costume designer, talked about putting her in layers, and I feel like her dwelling had these layers in it, and her house, and then contrast that with the police station. So what were those were both sets, right? Her house and the police station, and does that give you a lot more? That gives you a lot more latitude in how you can sort of dress a set versus going to a location. Or I'm curious how that process works.
Yeah, it gives us some room. I would say more in the terms of like the architecture and the laying out of the spaces more than the dressing. Like we probably do, once we found that vibe, apply those same sort of ideas to a location interior with the stage set. But being able to work on stage gives us the room to sort of design again with the DP and the director and how we want to shoot these scenes. So it gives us in certain moments we could create moments. It's always about trying to find these visual moments, right? There's the actual architecture and the sort of respecting the reality of the life, or when it came down to this abandoned train depot, we knew we had like a basic rectangle shape to sort of fit this into, but then within that we could create our own sort of labyrinth and come up with the way we would want to shoot these scenes within there. And same with Mare's house, like there were certain rooms that we knew pivotal scenes would take place, or where we wanted a window to bring light in, or maybe extend a hallway to get some drama for other certain moments. So that's one of the best things about sort of but I got us to say, like we also with stage sets, you can push the boundaries of height and space, but we and God bless Ben for being okay with this sort of boxing him and the camera in. We all agreed to the show was all about these sort of unremarkable spaces with small living rooms, teenage bedrooms, and low ceilings, which can create a real challenge for DPs. But Ben was a hero, and just so we built the sets without giving him a lot of latitude to move within them, just like he was going to face with all the locations, which was probably 75% of the show. So we wanted to make sure that was consistent, and he was sort of great, accepting that role. And I think that sort of gave us, that really helped us define, again, this density and layering, because there's a physical proximity and lens choices that have to be made because of these smaller spaces.
Well, and it's such a testament to your craftsmanship, because that house doesn't feel like a set. It absolutely feels like, it's houses that I've been in. I'm sure you've been in. It really, I think when I was doing my research on you, there was such a wonderful turn of phrase that you used, blue collar poetry. And I think that between Brad's words and then the visual images that you created with Ben and Megan, I mean, you really captured that. And the one word that I've heard from every single person I've talked to about Mare of Easttown, I talked to so many people in the cast and behind the scenes, is wah wah. So are you a wah wah convert? Are you?
Yes, we did find ourselves frequenting many Wawas through the scouting process. We felt like it was, it was just right, and they're all over town. Like it's such a big, wonderful detail in this part of in the surrounds of Philadelphia. And again, that's the kind of thing that we could really, it's just a local convenience store, but it's it's as famous almost as the accents of that region.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and again, it was peppered throughout Brad's script, and it adds that layer of authenticity. And just, when you're first reading the script and you find little things like that, you start to see the world you're creating. So it's just, Wawas and hoagies and all that were, definitely going to be in the show.
And what I particularly liked is then you had the challenge of creating a Wawa that wasn't a Wawa with the convenience store where Don worked. And I think that what you found and how you used it to help move the story along is fascinating. You talk about that.
Oh, great. Thanks. Yeah, that was, I think, one of our highlights. It was a real sort of gem, a great find. The most of the Wawas that we scouted or were looking at have all been converted. They're all been updated, just like many, today's, vendors and convenience stores and gas stations, things like that. So it was a little too shiny and new for the world that we were creating. We our Easttown was a little bit not exactly stuck in time, but it's a beat before that makeover. We sort of, hypothesized that, like, say if there was a Mare of Easttown tour, if this would continue, like, this Wawa would probably knock down and be replaced by the new branding, shinier, more sort of attractive to draw people in. So we're like one beat before that. Same with like the police station. We were also looking at that. Like, there's probably an updated police station being built for Easttown just down the street that we don't see in the show, but that's where you would hope that they would move these facilities, because our place is a little bit outdated, technology is a little bit old, but it's a quiet town for the most part. There's
Right.
It's a small force, and but anyway, back to the Wawa convenience store. There was one scripted moment where these three characters sort of converge.
Yeah.
So we were trying to figure out how we would portray that as Mare's pulls up just as Kenny and Dylan pull out. Plus, as Mare pulls in, we find out that she's being followed by Brianna's dad, right? And we know that Dawn is inside, where there's like this really obviously intense relationship between Dawn and Mare at this point. So it was just this big convergence. So when we stumbled upon this lot that was sort of at a Y intersection of roads, it just gave us that amazing vantage point, so we could get Ben and the director Craig. So we came up with these shots so you could almost in a wonder sort of bring all those people in and out at the same time and just sort of ground it right there. So that was wonderful. And then we motivated the design and the colors and the products and everything based on the Wawas that we had researched. And
And then the one thing that we don't appreciate is that sort of filming's going along, and then you get shut down for many, many months. And when you come back, everything's recalibrated. Like, so were there sets that had been built or locations scouted that suddenly you had to out the window and had to kind of think on the fly? Was there anything that it challenged you when you came back from
Yeah, great question. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the COVID of it all made the coming back difficult. Yeah, we had to scout a bunch of locations. We owed like 55 days of shooting, and like 28 of them were on location. So a lot of protocols, a lot of things we had to do to keep the crew safe, to find places that we could access, keep the public safe, and do all the right things. And yeah, there were sets that, like the police station's a great example. We hadn't shot anything in the police station. We had that big set on stage, and we were just starting to rough things in when the world shut down. And so when we came back, that was one of the big projects we had to sort of finish up, pick up where we left off. And we had a few weeks to bring that together. And it was, we kind of knew what we were aiming for. It had already been chopped. So it was just about the layering and the business of sort of bringing that set to completion.
I think one of the things that's so appealing about Mare of Easttown is it's this combination of so many different things. It's a family drama, it's a murder mystery, there's the thriller aspect to it. And I just think to that scene with Mare and Zabel and the person we think might be the killer who isn't, so that's a location, the confrontation scene where Zabel gets killed. But what did you do within there though to create those different elements that we see?
Yeah, that was a great one. That was one we just found that location before COVID hit, so we knew kind of what we wanted to do when we got back there. Yeah, that was an amazing find too. This bizarre house/bar restaurant that were connected together. From certain angles, you couldn't tell that they were. And then so yeah, with all the wonderful beats in the script about this, this house number 3, basically, as Zabel and Mare are knocking on doors, chasing down this blue van and the license plate. This was the third one. And so it wanted to be a surprise to the audience as they walk inside to question this man, Wayne Potts. And as we sort of pull out, we in the audience sort of know, like, they're probably onto something. This could be the guy, and how are they going to get out of it? So as the tension builds, we created this place that was under construction. It wants to be sort of hidden, or hidden but in plain sight. This whole place was just like has a for sale sign on it, just like we did for months and months. You just drive right past it without even thinking about it, for real. And so when we got in there, it was just amazing, and it had this amazing labyrinth and floor plan where we could, create these beats with the director and Brad to heighten this tension. So the fact that Zabel gets it so matter of factly and quickly, and then the chase is on. So we created all these obstacles throughout the house, gave it the sense that again, this guy is sort of hiding the bad things. When Mare figures out within a beat that she can't get out, she has to run upstairs, and that's when she discovers the kidnapped missing girls. And so we built the attic on stage. It was actually a wonderful attic on the location, but it was just too inaccessible and too rickety to bring a crew and camera equipment and everyone up there. So we replicated that, and again, we had to push the dimensions a little here and there and give ourselves room to light it, to do some dramatic lighting, and Ben did a great job. We sort of split a lot of the roof tiles so that he could light. He basically wrapped the whole outside of the set in this sort of vellum, so you get this overall glow, just to give you all these sort of interesting slits of light, which made it really spooky up there. And then, we just needed to get Mare and Potts basically through that space, the little cat and mouse game, all at the same time. We now know the girls are there. How are we going to get out of this? Because the door's locked. She's got to survive so she can get these girls out. And then it all ends up sort of back downstairs.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, Mare has the thought that she remembers, she's been disarmed, and so she's got to get back downstairs to Zabel's gun.
Right.
Yeah, so that was definitely a highlight. That was another one where we didn't shoot that till near the end of the show, and it was one of those that when you read these scripts, it's just a real juicy set to sort of design and wait a while.
It's wonderful. Well, and that's why you're an Emmy nominee, because I think that the fact that you can read the script and see the kind of how you want to stage that and to help add to the story and to the tension. I mean, that I think is why people like me just responded to it so well, as did Emmy voters. Well, listen, congratulations again on the nomination, and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.